everyone and welcome to my tutorial Kijk en Luistertoets VWO Engels. I hope you're looking forward to improving your listening and viewing skills because that is what this tutorial is all about. So what are we going to do today? Well, first I will take you through the basic approach and strategies, and then I will demonstrate with real CETO materials. If you keep working on your vocabulary and keep watching documentaries and BBC panoramas, etc., and use this approach, then I think you can do really well on your next listening and viewing test. So let's go for it. Let's get to it. But before we start, let's dwell on what you're actually being tested on by CETO with these listening and viewing tests. Obviously, you're tested on your adequate understanding of English. And we are talking CEFA level B2C1, meaning the language used is complex and abstract. Both the vocabulary and the syntax. Now let's zoom in on the vocabulary. You have to be able to identify keywords, words with the most meaning that are about the main topic. You also have to be able to identify linking words and understand them adequately. They add structure, which is very important, and you also have to keep in mind the negatives. They are often included in the questions and in the multiple choice answers, and they will help you distinguish the right answers from the wrong ones. It's very useful to use the context to help you understand the clips better. And last but not least, it's very important to be able to identify synonyms and paraphrases. And you also have to keep in mind repetition because that will help you understand the main gist as well. With regard to syntax, you have to be able to understand complex and compound sentences. Voor de zekerheid herhaal ik het even in het Nederlands. Het taalniveau van een Kijk- en Luistertoets VWO is erg hoog. Complex, abstract taalniveau, de onderwerpen zijn vaak ook lastig. En dat zie je terug in het vocabulaire, het woordenschat. En daarbij kan het je helpen om goed te letten op de kernwoorden, de signaal- en structuurwoorden, de context en de synoniemen en parafrasen, want die geven aan wat de kern is. Verder is het qua zinsconstructies lastig dat het lange en samengestelde zinnen kunnen zijn. Moving on, what are you being tested on by CETO? Besides the level of language, you have to be able to distill the key info, the main gist from everything that you hear in the clip. Concentration and focus is very important in order to do well. Your reading speed. You shouldn't lag behind because then you won't be able to answer the question in time and read the next question. Your ability to link the question to the content of the clip and of course the multiple choice answers as well. And last but not least, your ability to identify the pitfalls in the ABC answers. Very important. As you can see, you're combining lots of different skills at the same time, which makes a listening and viewing test pretty complex material. So how do you improve on your skill? First and foremost, you have to practice the CETO listening and viewing tests. So ask your teacher for lots of practice. It also really helps if you understand the strategies and how to tackle a test like this. And this tutorial is supposed to help you with that. What is also bound to help you with your listening and viewing skill is do lots of reading. For example, CETO exam texts, because they have the same level as the listening and viewing tests. Background articles from the news, current affairs, etc. And yes, literature. Literature is often complex in use of language, and that is always a good thing to practice. Obviously, it will help you if you study some exam vocabulary. So ask your teacher for a good list and start studying. Does watching Netflix help you improve your English? It might, yes. It really depends on what you watch. Some of my favorites are House of Cards, Narcos and Homeland. They are entertaining series, but they also have a high level of language, so watch out for those. Now it's time for the step-by-step approach. So brace yourself, take notes, let's go. Or as the Dutch say, let's watch this little piggy. As I said before, it's very important to know the main topic as soon as you can. So the first thing you do is listen to the general Dutch introduction. It will tell you what the main topic is. Next, you will get a more specific English introduction, usually. And that will also help you confirm the main topic, as well as get used to the speaker's voices, their vocab, their accents, and hopefully it will get your concentration level up. Then you get time to read the first question, including the multiple choice answers. You take note or underline, if you're working on paper, the key info in the question and the multiple choice answers, and you mind the pitfalls, the negatives in the multiple choice. Then you listen to the content, to the clip itself. And while listening, you have to watch out for paraphrases that correspond to the multiple choice. You answer the question and you do that while listening, so when the clip is still playing, or immediately after. You have to answer as soon as you can, because you will be needing your time to read the next question. And of course, you saw this arrow hopefully. You have to keep confirming the main topic while listening and answering questions. Same procedure for every question. You read the question during the pause. You start listening when the clip starts playing. You listen for key info, etc. And then you answer the question as quickly as possible. You go on and on like this until you finish the topic. Your focus at all times is the main gist, grote lijn. So what do you do when you get into trouble, like when you lag behind at any point? If you lag behind, you make an educated guess, meaning you use the main gist to choose the most likely correct multiple choice answer. And then you're back on track, so you can read the next question before the next clip starts. What do you do when you are in doubt about an answer? You eliminate, and if you're still in doubt after elimination, you go for the answer that reflects the main gist best. Always go for the main gist, grote lijn. So, to sum up, you have to make sure that you know what the question is asking. You have to find the main gist of the clip, because that will be your answer. You find paraphrases, synonyms in the multiple choice answers. You focus on key info, you mind the pitfalls in the answers, and you connect all the dots, and then you get to the best possible answer. Alright, time for our demonstration. Step 1, do you remember what it is? You listen for the introduction. It is your first priority to get the main topic right. And Cito makes it pretty easy for you because they tell you what it is in Dutch.
Audiodeel. Deze toets bestaat uit 2 gedeelten. Eerst ga je luisteren naar een radioprogramma over het effect van luisteren naar muziek van Mozart. Het programma wordt gepresenteerd door muzikus Paul Robertson. Luister nu eerst naar de aankondiging. Hierbij is nog geen opgave.
There you have it. She gives us so much information. She says the effect of the music of Mozart is the main topic. She also told you there will be an English introduction next. So listen very carefully to that English introduction because it will help you confirm the main topic and get used to the speaker's voices and accents. So what are your main objectives when listening to the English introduction? You've confirmed the main topic. Check whether there is any added information. You listen for keywords, look for angles, opinions, etc. Here we go.
In 1993, researchers in the United States discovered that students who listened to 10 minutes of Mozart's Sonata for 2 pianos in D significantly increased their IQ scores.
Now that's key info. Listening to 10 minutes of Mozart will increase people's IQ.
Now on BBC Radio 4, Paul Robertson, the leader of the Medici String Quartet, explores the Mozart effect.
And there's your topic again, the Mozart effect. Now I'm sure you noticed that I paused really briefly to tell you about the key info and the topic. Of course, on the real test there won't be pauses in the introduction, so you have to take mental notes or notes on paper really quickly while listening.
Tot zover deze inleiding. Lees nu opgave 1.
On the real test you would now get about 15 seconds to read the questions and multiple choice answers. We are going to do it differently, of course, because we are training strategies, so we are taking our time analyzing the question. Always bear in mind the main topic is the effect of Mozart's music. So here's question 1. The claim that listening to Mozart makes you more intelligent led to A. Conclusions that turned out to be scientifically invalid, B. A new appreciation of the benefits of classical music, or C. Overexcited reactions among people concerned with children. Now let's analyze the question, and we do that by looking for keywords. And there's quite a few in this question actually. So let's go. So they are going to be talking about a claim, so it's somebody's opinion, that listening to Mozart makes you more intelligent. And they are talking about what that claim led to, so the result of that claim. And then in the first multiple choice answer, they talk about conclusions that turned out to be scientifically invalid. And I've made that slightly red because scientifically invalid is a negative concept. B, a new appreciation of the benefits of classical music, so that would be a positive one. And C, overexcited reactions could be interpreted as negative, of people who are concerned with children. So then children would be mentioned a lot in the clip as well. There's my analysis. Your next step is to listen to the clip and you listen for key information and link it to the ABC multiple choice answers. So we've analyzed the questions. We are now going to take note of keywords while listening, and you can actually do this on paper. You can mark your assignment sheet or you can take notes on a note paper. Do it, it helps.
So this is it. This is the music which makes you brainy. Stick with us for just 10 minutes and it'll change your life. Well, that's what the media would have us believe when they invented the term Mozart effect. It sent the world into a spin. Shops sold out of this recording. The state of Georgia called for $105,000 to be set aside so that every mother could receive a free classical music tape. And parents all over the UK jumped at the chance to get their children ahead of the school pack. Mozart had apparently emerged from more than 200 years of benign obscurity to become the greatest influence on health and education the world has ever known.
1.
Alright, so we've got our key information, lots of sales, mothers, parents who buy this stuff for the children, influence on health and education, and of course Mozart makes you smart. So let's go back to the question and see which answer applies best. So I hope you remember we are looking for the effect of the claim that Mozart makes people more intelligent. So what did it lead to? At this point, if you're an experienced listener, you will have scanned the answers really quickly and you will have noticed that the process of elimination works really well for this question. Now, why is that? If you look at answer A, you see that it says scientifically invalid. Now, I heard nothing about scientific research in the clip, so that makes answer A automatically wrong, leaving B and C. So now we will have to compare our notes to answer B and C. B is a rather general answer. It talks about a positive effect and a new appreciation of the benefits of classical music. What I heard in the clip was not only the positive effect, but also the frenzy, the sales, the mothers, the parents, the kids, health and education. In C, overexcited reactions, people concerned with children. Conclusion? B is talking about the benefits and a new appreciation, very general. C focuses more on the main gist that is focused on in the clip itself, the parents, the children, etc. Basically, all the examples in the clip point towards answer C. I'd say the use of the words new appreciation and overexcited reactions is a pitfall, because at first sight, the words new appreciation seem much closer to the clip in tone, but B obviously lacks the excitement and the focus on parents and kids. So, C has more overlap with the clip, corresponds best, that is our answer. I hope you're aware of the fact that all of this, what we've just done with this question, in order to answer it, has to take place within 2 or 3 seconds. So you need to think quickly, you have to be really quick about it. On to the next question, same procedure. So, the main topic, effect of Mozart's music, does it make you more intelligent? And let's look at the second question. In his research, Dr. Alfred Tomatis looked upon music as A means of diagnosing mental disorders, B, a non-verbal way of communication, or C, a sequence of sounds affecting the brain. So we are looking for Dr. Tomatis' view on music. Key info in the multiple choice. Diagnosing mental disorders. Non-verbal communication. Sounds affecting the brain. And that rings a bell to me because sounds or music affecting the brain is the main gist of the test so far. Let's listen to it. And don't forget to take notes of keywords in the clip.
One of the world's foremost advocates of the music and healing connection is Don Campbell.
I became aware of Mozart and his effect on learning and communication around 1982, when I met Dr. Alfred Tomatis. And he had spent many years starting research with Mozart, with Beethoven, with Gregorian chant, and with many different kinds of music to see if playing music to children with autism and dyslexia and different kinds of speech and communication disorders made any difference. He began to look at the anatomy of music and sound on what interests the brain.
But am I right in thinking that Alfred Tomatis' work doesn't largely or exclusively rely upon merely listening to music, but it's listening to music in a very special and filtered way?
Exactly. And if anything, he says the Mozart violin concertos are the healthiest music in the world.
2.
And back to the question. Let's compare our notes to the keywords in the question. Is there any mention of mental disorders? Is there any mention of non-verbal communication? Is there any mention of a sequence of sounds affecting the brain? Well, there is no mention of any diagnosis of mental disorders, no mention of non-verbal communication, and there is mention of sounds affecting the brain. In fact, because it's the main gist, sounds affecting the brain, that would be the best answer. And we actually kind of knew this before listening to the clip already. So this goes to show that knowing the main gist, knowing the main topic is very, 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 very important. All right, next question you get to do on your own, and you can include pauses in your process. So that pauses to analyze the question and the multiple choice answers and the clip, of course. So I'm giving you a little bit of time to analyze the question now. It's 10 seconds. I hope you've taken notes of the keywords in the question and the multiple choice answers. Let's compare your notes to mine. What is being asked? What is the idea behind filtering out sounds of a certain frequency from Mozart's music? The question is asking you, why would we filter out certain frequencies from Mozart music? Answers? A, because then they will be more easily processed by the brain. Again, the word brain. Less complexity, making it easier to appreciate the art. And C, the limitations make it easier to concentrate. So focusing on more easily processed by the brain, easier to appreciate, easier to concentrate.
The late Alfred Tomatis' principles are practiced worldwide to treat a range of problems such as attention deficit disorder, dyslexia and autism. But the question remains, why did he choose Mozart? Alex Smith runs the Listening Centre in Lewes, Sussex.
We actually filter out frequencies right up to 9,000, so we filter out everything below 9,000 hertz. And he felt that with Mozart, there was a lot of Mozart left. Hearing is a passive concept, listening is active. And if we can't focus our listening as we focus our eyesight, we're prey to all the sounds. So if you can't focus your listening, you can't focus specifically on a point, and you can't focus out extraneous sounds. So kids with attention deficit disorder, all the sounds just flood into them. They can't cut it out. What this does is retrain the ear so it can listen properly, and therefore you can focus out what you don't want to hear.
3.
I hope you took very good notes, because here's the time to compare them to mine. They started out talking about his principles being applied worldwide, and then they ask a question, why Mozart? Then Alex Smith confirms that it's about filtering out sounds below 9,000 hertz. He's talking about hearing being passive and listening being active. And then he starts talking about focus a lot. He keeps repeating the word focus. He's talking about being flooded by sounds if you don't have focus. He talks about kids with attention deficit disorder not having focus. The word focus is used about 5 or 6 times. That confirms that concentration is key. And that obviously leads to answer C. Quick evaluation. When did you answer the question? Ideally, you answered during the clip or immediately after. And with all the repetitions of the word focus, I'm hoping you answered during the clip. Another question. Did you notice anything at the start of the clip? At the beginning, it is stated, the question remains, why did tomatoes choose Mozart? And you would expect them to answer the question during the clip, right? They don't. They move on to talking about focus. So they give a keyword, a catchword, why. They pose a question, and then you start focusing on that question, but the rest of the clip is about something else. That is unusual, a major pitfall. The next question is all yours, so do it yourself without pauses. And don't forget the main topic. The effect of Mozart's music is that it makes you more intelligent or healthier. Keep that in mind. I will give you 15 seconds to read question 4 now, so go ahead. And now you have to listen, answer, and read the next question in the entire clip. And the pause between answering and the next question is roughly 20 seconds.
The Tomatis method is a highly specific form of therapy. At the opposite extreme is a study in Aberdare Boys' School in South Wales. Anne Savan teaches science to special needs children with problems ranging from visual and audio impairments to autism, Asperger's syndrome and epilepsy. What all these children have in common is a lack of coordination. So when she was faced with a particularly large intake of 13 children, she tried playing background music to calm them. This she did for an initial period of 5 months, and it was pure luck that the tape which came to hand was Mozart.
I found immediately that the children changed. They became focused. They were calm. Their work became neater. Their work became more productive. They wanted to complete each task.
4.
Before we continue to the answer, let's ask ourselves a few questions. First of all, did you answer the question before the clip ended or immediately after? And of course, secondly, were you able to read the next question before the beep sound at the end, so before the next clip would start? I'm really curious what your answer to question 4 is, so shout it out now. Just kidding, it's a one-way street. Let's have a drum roll for the real correct answer. Answer B. That is your answer. I hope you got it right. Some notes to explain. At the beginning of the clip, they mentioned Tomatis' study being very specific, and they are comparing it to this example, which is the opposite. That eliminates answer C. Learning disabilities are mentioned, a lack of coordination, background music to calm the kids in question, and then they talk about it being pure luck that they discovered that Mozart's music had positive effects. Afterwards, they say that immediately they saw more productive children, and that eliminates answer A. So that is why answer B is the best answer. I'm going to let you off with some concluding tips. Apply this method as often as you can during practice. Focus on the main gist when you're using other footage. View and listen to as many materials as you can. well, you can read this list yourself, of course. Always focus on the main gist. Grote lijn, grote lijn, grote lijn. If you'd like to finish this particular CITO test, let me know, email me, and this obviously goes for Hyperion students only. Thank you for listening and watching, and lots of luck on your next listening and viewing test. You can do it. Cheerio!